Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Hard Claim with Viva Sam. I'm Sam, and this is a show where we talk to people who play Blood on the Clocktower and get their player perspective of the game. Joining us for this week's episode is Matthew. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Sam. And as I've said before, I'm kind of surprised to get this, but I'm happy. It was an honor to.
Yeah, well, I've been playing with you for a long time, and you're always a joy to have around, and you're faithfully in every game. We wanted to have you on.
Yeah. I think it's been how many? I'm trying to think of how long it's been now. I think it's 2+ years.
Should be. We'll get into that. I do like to ask an opening hard claim question, though. So this script, you've had us load in Manny's Outed Evil script, a favorite of our groups, and obviously a favorite of yours.
Yeah.
I have passed out character tokens, and you've drawn the Tea Lady token.
Yeah.
So if you and I were chatting on day one, what would you claim to me?
I would not claim this under any circumstances, because of a certain character in this thing that has an axe and bears up and has a movie reference from Stephen King. If you get my meaning,
right? Yeah. So what if you were not claiming Tea Lady? What would you claim instead?
Yeah, I just claim any. I'd probably lie and just say I'm an outsider and something like that, and when nobody dies, let people think what they can.
Yeah, great. Trying to think what would be a good outsider to claim on the script. Maybe Barber. I don't know.
Yeah. They'd still want to kill Barber, though.
Yeah,
I think
potentially.
I think actually politician would be okay, because evil team wouldn't do that because they didn't know what side the politician would play on. I tend to Lynn knows that I tend to play politician evil, but I tend to play politician evil, but I'm really bad at getting the wins because the evil team don't often come to me. Basically, and offer me the deal. Yeah, because I'm a lot of time I can be a certain liability. I am honest with that. I have a sliding scale of my skill, and I have been and you probably notice this. I often play really, really well, and then there's klutz picks and really bad decisions, and I mean really bad decisions.
Well, we definitely all have our good games and our bad games. I've had games with 1,000 people watching, and I lose as a demon on day 2, and it happens.
Yeah, I've seen you. I've caught some of those little live streams you got. Yeah, and for a couple of times, Sam, I noticed the time after you get the new token or demon in a live stream, I got the new token straight in your stream.
That's funny.
And that was it felt. After a while, I was just like, am I going to get it again? It felt so weird.
While we're talking about it, is there any of the new characters recently that you particularly liked that you can think of?
Little new characters. Typhon is a little. The problem with Typhon is it's so easy to find, and at the beginning, people were just hunting it. People were just People were just so hunting it. First game afterwards, people mad you did it. And I was on that evil team, and we were basically snipped out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember all the ones that have.
Lord of Typhon's a character that and Yagababble are characters that really need to people not know that it's in play, and unfortunately, being new characters, they're more likely to be in play. So it
Yeah,
definitely hurts it quite a bit. You
yeah,
were the demon recently with the buffing ability.
yeah, and the Yaga, yeah, and and the Shugenja thing. Yeah, was that the
Shugenja's fine.
one I had, Shugenja?
No, you had the High Priestess ability.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I'm trying to remember which demon I was then. I usually have a better memory when it comes to the evil teams because I get evil magnetism. It's become a thing. I know it's become a thing. You know it's become a thing. This is when I have a day when I just don't am good all the time, it just feels so stress relieving. Because I
I feel that.
When I first came into the group, I wanted to be evil nearly all the time. It was kind of the thing I wanted. But after a while, it was just like, I can't do this anymore. It stopped the hurt. It was just a little bit too much at some point. I like doing it now, but too interspaced.
Yeah.
If I have too much of it, maybe twice or three times in a week, it's like, can I just back off a bit?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you were kind of talking about how long you've been playing, and I usually do ask how long you've been playing Clocktower and how. I want to say that you've been playing before 2022, at least 2021, I think, because we were still playing on the Zoom days.
Yeah, it was. We've been playing. I started. It was September of 20. I think it was 21.
That sounds right. It was
September 21. I know that because I know how I got in. I took the kind of the traditional route for this group, for a lot of people in this group. 3 letters, DTW. Dice Tower Werewolf.
Yeah.
I got in through somebody who's been in the group a very, very long time. Jen, I got through from him. We played in a different group to Mafia in a different group together. And then he introduced me to this group. He introduced me to Dice Tower Werewolf, and we started playing Werewolf in that group. Mm-hmm. Then he mentioned Blood on the Clocktower through that, and I started playing then, if I remember right. Also, my memory is also kind of bites me in the ass in these games because when there's info I just don't note down, and I'm good, I get jumped on. Because if you don't, with these groups, especially Friday night, if you do not have your info down, you do get jumped. You do get jumped, and I've noticed that if you don't keep info correct, you're suspected a lot more. Right. In the Sunday games that I play, the Hella games, it tends to be a little more forgiving, but I tend to be a lot better about keeping my info good or evil now, just because my memory is just not as good.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because I'm thinking about when I play, trying to keep less notes, which will probably mean forgetting stuff. But if I was playing in person, I wouldn't be taking notes. So I don't know. It's an experiment.
Yeah, there's a particular reason when there's evil bluffs and the word and there's savant in there. I tend to never take it. I tend to never take savant because it's good for a while, but when the info does not match up, it comes back around to haunt you very, very quickly. I never claim it. There's certain ones I never do, like which is savant and empath. I never do savant and empath because there's a certain thing that's become a thing now that people don't believe. Never trust empaths. Well, I don't.
Empaths aren't really real, as they say.
Yeah, I feel empaths. I feel like empaths are a mythical beast. Nowadays. Even if I'm the spy, I don't believe them.
You say that, but I did run a game this last Friday, at least in relation to this recording, where Blake was an empath who correctly got a 2 between evil players, and the evil team ended up winning.
Yeah, because he was fooled into thinking it was Puka and did not believe it, and they killed him night 1, which absolutely sold it.
Yeah.
Which absolutely sold it.
Empaths aren't real even when they are.
Yeah. And as translates to how bad my memory is, I can't even remember what I was in this game. I can't even remember it. I can't even remember what I was.
That's okay, because when I was talking to Nina about this the other day, she couldn't remember what she was. The only thing she could remember was being portrayed by Steve the politician.
Yeah, that was the thing. We had it at the end, but he flipped. He was the vote that kept it off evil at the end.
Yeah. Well, he could have nominated and basically, cost evil to win, and he didn't. So.
Yeah, but that's kind of a move to do. Even I will. There's it's not. I wouldn't find that right.
That's fair. I do plan on talking a little bit more about Politician later, just to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But so when you were playing this game for the first time, what hooked you about the game, would you say?
Yeah. There was one mechanic. First one is this. I'm a puzzle because my brain works more on logic. I'm a puzzle. I love a puzzle. I love puzzle logic. Tends to be right down my alley. So, and that's where I came from on that side of it. It really fed into my brain from that side. And one other thing, there was just something with Werewolf that I just could not, Werewolf Mafia that I just could not get in. And and that was once you're out of the game, you're out for good.
Yeah.
It was being able to speak completely all days with everyone. It just had the appeal to me that way, because just sitting there in the night, twiddling your thumbs, doing nothing while everybody else is playing, it's kind of
not fun.
It felt a little bit. I'll be honest. I just didn't like it.
All right. So let's talk about the base scripts real quick. So you got Trouble Brewing, Bad Mood and Rising, Sex and Violets. Which of those would you say is your favorite?
I can do a 3-2-1 easily.
Oh,
It's SMV TB BMR 1 2 3 in that order. So SMV I like, even though it's very good weighted. I just love it feels more fun to me. And
the
because
chaos.
as
Yeah.
I think from the fact I gave Outed Evil here, I
Hmm.
think that could have been a clue. It could have been a slight clue because it's got a lot of it's got a couple of them.
Yeah.
A lot of the SMB rolls here,
Yeah. You
and
got like Snake
uh,
Charmer, Savant. Uh, yeah.
yeah, Philo.
Feel like that. Yeah.
I tend to love I tend to love the fun of it. And there's been some weird. Let's be honest, there is some weird stuff that happens on Sex and Violence. Can get completely. It goes completely sideways. For yeah, one time one time I was a snake charmer who you can guess what happened. Yeah, but here's the thing: the pit hagged me straight off that night into the barber, which instantly meant an evil loss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I ran
and
that game.
that was that was there's kind of there's some it's I kind of like the controlled chaos of it.
Hmm.
TB is a standard classic. You can't really go wrong with it
Right.
because because you've got all of because you have it's basically balanced with protection, info, and the evil side is and the evil side is good enough to withstand the evil the evil side is was good enough to withstand that, especially with the star passing mechanic being a lot more flexible. Star
Hmm.
because imp can basically star pass to any minion, and and the reason I put BMR last is it's kind of awkward since I got T Lady, isn't it? It is kind of awkward. I put BMR last because BMR it's it's kind of like it's the not knowing it just leans so much on my weakness. It leans so much on my weakness, and and the fact that it just leans so much on social for me. It just
Hmm.
leans a lot more on the social side, and you have to trust more on what you believe somebody did rather than what somebody you believe and what you have info on the info you actually have, which is kind of where I which is where I kind of lean off and plus I it's I like all three. I play all three, but if I was to get a choice of where of any of the base three of where to go, I'm always choosing that. And if there's any of the sort of homebrew basics, the homebrew things that have just come along, I have come along that people play now that are basically base threes without the name.
Hmm.
Catfishing is right at the top of that list
It's a great
because
script.
yeah, because it has a lot of the SMV stuff
Hmm.
in it, but it also has lot of it also feels right there. I'll plug your extension cord too. It's always a fun one to play off. Oh yeah, I like although I've Nodashi is probably I keep although Nodashi is probably my worst demon. It because when I play Nodashi, it's once people work out if they're poisoned or not,
Yeah.
they can just trace back. They just trace back it, and if it's a, and if the good team works it out quick enough, it's just over so fast. It's just over so fast.
Since you mentioned S&V as your favorite of the base scripts, that is a script that introduces madness. So I'm curious how you feel about madness in this game.
Oh, this is getting now. This is considering the Serenovus. It for a long while. I was basically the. I was it. I think I was considered a default pick. And so a lot of people knew that I wouldn't put up with it. A lot of people I won't put up with wouldn't put up with Serenova, so just couldn't keep the charade up. Because because I would slip up way too easy. Because in the beginning I would slip up way too easy.
Yeah.
I'm not good. I'm not good with madness I'm not good with the madness mechanic in general itself. I've gotten a lot better now. Pixie, I've actually pulled it off more by accident than skill, but I've gotten the skill. With Pixie, I actually have gotten it a couple of times more by accident. But with madness, it's kind of the things that's kind of one of my another kill user for me, because if I don't, I'm not really that good. I'll just say it this way: I'm not good at it.
That's fair.
It's one of my weaknesses, and I know a lot of. So far, I've said a lot of my weaknesses and not a lot of my positives, haven't I, Sam?
No, you talked a lot of positives.
Kind of a theme, hasn't it? Because I'm kind of the kind. I know I'm a kind of a person who notices my weaknesses first. I know it's kind of the anxiety stuff. I know I will always notice the negative before the positive. It's me.
Well, I'll always remember a game I ran where you were a minion and you Dreamer was a bluff and you took the Dreamer bluff, and there's no like spy or anything on the script, but you were able to successfully pull off a Dreamer bluff and everybody believed you, and always thought that was just great.
Yeah, I think it was more because I don't remember the game, but did I think people might have. I think I may have gotten just a lot of people's hard claims around. I think I may have people's hard claims from other people.
That counts.
So I've just been able to bluff it straight from that.
Yeah.
There's one person.
Still, not many people can pull that off very easily.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our next segment here is I like asking people about what I call divisive characters. And I'm really curious what you think of these, because several of these are already on this particular script.
There are a couple and there's a couple that may not be on this, that you may have up and may up on there that I think I don't like. So
yeah, that's all good. Well, let's go with the first one here. The first one I have is Snake Charmer. So how do you feel about that character?
I'm actually completely fine with Snake Charmer. I don't mind. I don't mind Lou. Even if I Snake Charm, I don't mind the loss, because I like the fun of it.
The risk versus reward.
High risk. It is a high risk, high reward.
Mm-hmm.
And with me and Snake Charmer, I've noticed one thing. If it's not night one with me, if I don't do it night one, or if I don't charm the demon night one, I tend to not do it at all. Because after that, I get risk averse and I go to people who are confirmed. Because I tend not to risk after that point.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I tend not to risk after that point. And although there is one time I did pull something really sneaky. It was during the Zoom days. I got Snake Charmer. Hella was the demon at that point. It was Final Four. I Snake Charmed Hella, became the demon, killed one of the other demons, and then basically Hella knew who it was, came straight at me. But I played kind of. I did not do that, Hella. I did not do that, Hella. I did not. I did not. I did not. And sorry, Hella. Yeah, I got away with it. I won't be able to pull that ever again, especially with this group. I pulled that off. I wouldn't. So that sort of thing I would really never do again. There's sort of things I do once and then never again because
fair enough.
Because I know people. With me, there's sort of things I know. Once you don't do something once, you can't really go back because it's expected.
Yeah.
So I just leave it after that point.
Yeah, makes sense. So next character here, we've talked about a little bit already, but how do you feel about Politician?
Politician is so player dependent. It depends on whether the person is good. On how they are and how they play the game generally. I've said before, I tend to err to evil on it. I tend to err evil. Other people generally tend to err good, and as was in the Friday night game before this one, you said we had a politician that won them the game.
Mm-hmm.
Won them the game because they basically allied with them day one and basically rode with and knew everything and basically voted with them from that point on. So it's completely player dependent. I actually if I see outsiders and I see politician, it's the one I usually want out of the four usually generally. I know this is probably a generic answer, but if I see the word mutant, it's kind of like, aww.
Fair enough.
It's kind of like all with me. Unless there's a Fangu, I will stay alive because that's my way of that's why out.
Fair enough.
Is there a clue? Is there a clue to me that I like? I have a complete dichotomy. I say I don't like being evil anymore, but I will. I jump at the chance.
Yeah, it's a fun mechanic. The next character is also a character that's on the script. How do you feel about Puppy Grower?
Puppy Grower, I feel like it's very. Puppy Grower is an interesting one that I haven't really thought of. It is haven't really thought of backwards till now because it's recently it became I think it's really useful. The best thing about it is what it does. It just hides everything. It just hides everything for evil, and unless there's snitch, they don't have a clue. They generally don't have a clue. They generally don't have a clue who and what they are. Unless there's some sort of out mechanically out minion like a vizier or a psychopath, because psychopath will, if there's poppy grower, will always out, but that outs there's a poppy grower, because that would out there's a poppy grower and to generally believe the poppy grower. And if there's a vizier, the evil team will just go to them. Although the contradiction in that is good enough players can bluff that.
Mm-hmm.
Good enough players can bluff that and can kind of get away with that go for a little while. I Polygrower is one that I have when I see it up for a while. It's I think it's good up until I would say something like Final 5, Finals 6, but by that point, I think evil has usually found themselves. Usually in our groups by that point, they've found themselves.
Yeah.
So by that point, it's one of the ones, like, I would even include Dreamer slightly in this. It's useful in the beginning.
Yeah.
But end game, it's not that good.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, because Dreamer Endgame, Dreamer Endgame, you can only Dreamer Endgame is kind of redundant, especially if a Dreamer is outed. Especially in this, when people want hard claims late game, a Dreamer has to out, so they'll be taken out way before then. So the later Dreamer goes on, the least good it is, which is why which is on SMV, my favorite townsfolk generally is Savant, generally, because that goes back to me in the puzzle. I like solving a puzzle, and me solving which one is true, which one is false, or the whole Vortex Nodashi thing. That's how I generally like to solve things. And then there's Amnesiac.
Yeah.
That I'm one of these. I love it. I really like me. I really like Amni because it can be anything.
Right. Yeah.
Literally be anything.
Which can sometimes be bad depending on the storyteller, but
yeah. One, I think I can remember the first solve I got.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can remember the first solve. It was the amount it was the amount of vowels in a in a in a player's
Classic.
role. It was about vowels, and it helped. I don't know whether good one or not, but that's
But you
that was
remember getting your ability.
what I remember. And it helped me work out that Hela was Godfather by the large number I got off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So let's talk about our next divisive character here. It is also on this script. How do you feel about Heretic?
Heretic. I think Heretic with Goon in second is kind of my favorite outsider.
Okay.
Actually, because Heretic is my favorite. Because Heretic kind of flips the entire game
Mm-hmm.
on its head. It's because you have to start if you're the heretic, number one, you have to convince people you are. Yeah, and there's a lot of, and it kind of difficult a lot of the time. It's difficult to convince people of that. Then there's the really difficult part, maneuvering around the evil team.
Mm-hmm.
That's especially if there's a heretic, especially if there's one or two of the really veteran players on who've played with it enough to know when they're being sold something off, like with Legion with me. I can usually tell when I'm good and it's on Legion. That's one of the only things I usually get right, because I can usually tell the key thing with me with the Legion. The whole thing is the thing that is most transparent for me, which is the voting. The voting, the
Yeah.
voting for me is, if there's a Legion, I never vote day one. I never vote day one. It's because it kind of gives me a kind of noticing if people are on this, if it is what I think, it is, and then and then if I've worked out it is, I go from that point.
And Legion is one of the characters I bring up in this segment. So, since we're already talking about it,
Sorry.
no, you're good. Do you like Legion?
Yeah, Legion is. I can see where it's divisive.
Yeah,
because it can. It's kind of, you can have sort of any number of outsiders, a number of any sort of number, but it's more percentages more than anything else.
mm-hmm.
I play. I'm kind with Legion. You have as the two. There are two things, as I said, that are key to spot out when you're on a good team. One is the voting.
Mm-hmm.
The second is the double claiming. Unless there's a snitch, if there's way too many double claims, that is a really big target flare. That's Legion. I am not against Legion. I'm not against Legion at all. There's no demons. There's no demons in Essential. I'm against it in an essence, because I said there's some that work better than others, but I think
Right.
I'm not playing against any in essence.
That's cool. Yeah. We do have one more character for this segment. So, how do you feel about Atheist?
This is one of the two that I was going to bring up. This is I don't like Atheist. It's just not for me.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because it comes back to me talking about me wanting a puzzle, me wanting something to solve, me wanting. It's just I can't. After a while, because after a while, my either day will if the T, it's kind of comes obvious. No matter how good the ST is, no matter how good they are, it's kind of obvious if it's the atheist. If the atheist is telling the truth, they will, after a time, except in more comical circumstances. I think you know what clip I'm talking about. All I have to say is,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah. It's on Sam's channel. I will. Yeah. Naomi as jokingly as claiming atheist, but really as the psychopath, killed their new demon. Killed their new demon after they'd been snake charmed
on night one.
On night one. That was absolute.
One of my favorite clips.
It's probably. Is it your highest rated, Sam?
Oh, I don't know.
It's your highest rated.
If it's high rated, it's probably because I've watched it over and over.
It should be. It's kind of, I think in one of the games with, I had kind of a blooper with one of your games. I had a psychopath blooper. Because I think it was Poppy Grower. Yeah. It was Poppy Grower. I got puka poisoned as psychopath, and the kill didn't go through.
Yeah, you tried to kill the apprentice who had the Poppy Grower ability, and you were very confidently trying to psychopath kill him at the. Because you'd got pit hacked into the psychopath the night before, and you confidently swing the axe, and I say nothing happens, or there is no effect. And everybody's like, okay.
And the demon is like, "Oh, did I just do that?"
The wonderful clip. I love it.
Yeah, but atheist is, it's just about the mechanics for me. It's just I love a solve. I love to just get my teeth into something. I just love to get my teeth into something to solve. To solve a game with a sort of a resolution in that sort of way.
That makes sense.
And it just feels, atheist feels hollow. It kind of feels hollow to me. It's hollow to me. Just feels hollow in a way to me. I just when I see atheist, when I see or hear of an atheist, it's kind of like, how long if we know I just basically vote on the ST every day until it happens. After that point,
yeah. What was the other character you were going to bring up?
It's the one that I think a couple of other people, somebody else in this group, doesn't. I won't say the name, but it's the minion. It's that minion, Evil Twin.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Evil Twin. Evil Twin. I can with Evil Twin is this. It's because I can really never bluff it. I can really never bluff it because socially, can't really pull it off. I, f- I think out of every single time, and I don't, on being on the good twin end, I'm not exactly enjoyed with find good with it much either. It's just
It's a very
it's
social
just,
role. Yeah.
yeah, it's a very that is the kind of the
Yeah.
crux of it.
Makes sense.
I'm a I'm a I'm a mechanical player. It's a completely social role, and it completely goes against my my style of play. I think oh, I don't know how many times I've been damned that role at this point, because
Yeah.
I don't do the spreadsheet, but I think I've in all the times that I've been that role, I think I've only gotten one win as Evil Twin ever, and I think it resulted in a steak dinner. If you get, I think it resulted in a steak dinner.
That was a Lynn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It resulted in a steak dinner because Lynn for once read me read me wrong, and and kind that's the it's kind of the one of the only times Lynn has read me wrong. Lynn has a 95% hit rate with me.
Great. All right, we have one more segment here. I call it this or that. I'll just name two characters. You answer however you will. It's purposefully, vague. You can interpret it however you'd like. So first two characters, we have fortune teller or high priestess.
Fortune teller all day. High priestess is way too vague for me. It's just
That
way
makes
too
sense.
vague. I don't know. Because you don't know whether you're getting good or evil with high priestess.
That makes
Well,
sense.
no. Well, with high priestess going on, you don't know whether you're getting evil. In high priestess, at the beginning, you know you're getting good. You kind of know you're getting good. But high priestess going forward, you don't know whether you're getting evil or not.
That makes sense. Next to here, we have dreamer or noble.
That's actually difficult. It's kind of difficult for me because noble can be can be is one time but can be powerful, and but it can be so easily interfered, so easily stopped right in its tracks. It's I would go but but it's not by much. I think the ongoing of Dreamer just edges it. The
Makes sense.
ongoing effect of Dreamer just edges Noble.
Yeah, makes sense. Next two characters, we have Klutz or Goon.
Uh, Goon, absolutely Goon, absolutely Goon.
Especially if you like turning evil, right?
Yeah, it's the yeah, and plus somehow I think I played one I played one game of BMR as Goon. I think it went how many? It went. I think it went nearly what would be considered a whole week. A whole week, and I never turned evil once.
It
Never
happens.
turned evil once. Yeah, but Klutz, Klutz is always fun. Klutz is always fun. It adds a little bit of chaos and danger.
Yeah.
Chaos and danger, but and also there's also the point that if Klutz is done, even though Klutz can be game ending, if Klutz is done right, it can be really confirming for the good team.
Yeah.
It can be really confirming.
Yeah.
But I do like the Goon thing is just way too tempting for me a lot of the time.
Makes sense. All right, next two characters we have lunatic or recluse.
I have another one. I'm a bit sure, but I'd probably go lunatic here. I'd probably go lunatic
Yeah.
because I'd at least with recluse you usually get killed day one. With recluse if there's a recluse, it can it can it can ping off an investigator or a noble and give false info. Uh, a false info, at least with lunatic, doesn't in that way. Plus, with lunatic, at least you do figure it out. Well, you do figure it out kind of quickly. You do figure it out kind of quickly enough.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's BMR's on bull, and you target yourself on a non-kill night, then you just basically go the entire the game thinking, "Am I getting away with this?"
All right, the next one, based on what you said earlier, might be an easy one. But how about Mezephiles or Pit Hag?
You just gave me my top two, my top two minions.
Great.
The thing is, there's Pit Hag is versatility,
Mm-hmm.
but Mephistophelies is one-time use, but you get an extra evil. But here, it's by a hair, but I go Pit Hag by a hair. But it's like one is like a 9, one is an 8.5. They're that close to me because
cool.
they're all both very, very good for me. They're both very good. They're both very good for me.
All right, cool. Next two here, we have Poisoner or Vizier.
That one is they are so different. They are just really so different to me. Vizier is outed. Poisoner, you can really hit hard and do really good things with it, or you completely can miss bullet and not alter anything. I'm probably going to go against the grain on this. I would actually probably go Vizier because I would probably go Vizier because it feels weird. It feels weird that I actually would go with that. I would know if you would ask me any other time, I would have probably said Poisoner.
Yeah.
But Vizier, as long as evil can vote in the right places, as long as evil votes good in the right places, you can work with that very well.
Yeah. All right. Next two here we have Leech or Fangu.
For me, it is Fangu because once Leeches, it depends. It's usually on how quickly it's found out. With these two, they can be found out pretty quickly, either one, because once Leech is found out, they'd start searching for the wrong in. Town starts searching for the wrong info. for the poisoned info, and if there's no poisoned info, go for the passives, the outsiders. That with Fangu you have slight more flexibility, especially if there's certain people like certain outsiders who will hide themselves during games to get jumped to. Yeah, I would usually go Fangu in that situation because if there's a if if you have to create if you're a pit hag in that if both if you're creating if you're a Fangu that's already jumped, I would actually create. I would rather create, although I would, as a pit hag, as we're going slightly back, I would rather create a leech than a Fangu, which is weird.
Yeah, well, late game leech is very strong. Yeah,
yeah, because creating a leech late game, it's kind of it's a race, more of a race against time late game, and and you have more info on who's what.
Makes sense.
And sometimes storyteller discretion helps out. Sometimes the STs can help out the evil team because I know you have said, Sam, it's a lot better as you go along to help evil than it is to help good. Am I right in remembering that?
Mostly, yeah. It's something Ben Burns says, but like it's usually when in doubt, you'll help evil because when evil's winning, good can turn it around on a dime. But once good starts winning, it's really hard to turn it back to evil winning.
Yeah, I would usually hag a leech over if I was choosing one of those two. But if I was choosing one of those two to play as Fangu, I would choose all day.
Makes sense. All right. Two last characters here. How about Leviathan or Shabaloth? Two very different demons.
Yeah, one static, one two would be it's Shabaloth based on one thing. Leviathan, Shabaloth. I don't know. With Shabaloth, it's kind of a weird one for me. I don't know why I picked Shabaloth here, but because even though Leviathan, I think problem is with Leviathan, you know what it is. You instantly Leviathan is a known factor. Leviathan's a completely known factor for the good team, and that kind of helps in a sly way. With Shab, it's usually on BMR. It can. There's so many ways it can hide in BMR. Godfather, there's so many ways it can hide in Shab. Shab can hide in BMR. Godfather, Assassin, that sort. And because on nights where they miss, and nights on they miss, and a gossip kill can cover. And that's when they miss. A gossip kill, a one kill night can lead it away from that. So I tend to go Shabaloth over Leviathan just for that fact. The only drawback on it is the regurgitation factor.
Yeah.
Because if nobody's claimed professor and there's a regurgitation, it's basically outed at that. Yeah. It is outed at that point. Then town knows they are on the time limit.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost at the end here. We just have one last question. So, looking at the script here for Outed Evil, which of these characters would you like to be in real life?
Real life. Well, well, obviously leaving out anything orange or leaving out the orange red stuff.
Some people pick those, believe it or not.
Really, some people have picked the orange red here.
Yeah. I've had somebody pick a Poisoner before, for example.
Oh
You should go back and watch Avian's episode. It was good.
Yeah, outside. I would never. I would never pick politician in a million years. Yucca. Yucca, especially in today's climate. No, terrible. No, I think those fishermen. No, I like to stay inside. There's too many. I'll put it this way: I'm a homebody. I'm just gonna pick the one that gives me the one of the. There's two that give me the chance to basically stay inside a lot, and that's Alchemist and Savant. The Alchemist and Savant are the two that basically give me the chance to stay inside. But I would actually, because I would probably choose Alchemist.
Okay.
I'd choose Alchemist here. We could both play off to my complete and utter nerdy side. But my completely nerdy side because they both play to science, math, the whole logic side, and plus they're invariably both things that are basically resolve inside of four walls. So I don't have to get cold. And now it's in winter. You want to keep warm.
Well, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Matthew, thank you for joining us this week.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam. And I said thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on here.
All right. Well, so again, thank you, Matthew, and then thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of Hard Claim.